Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Gardner, the Adult Program Librarian of the Aldine Branch Library of the Harris County Public Library System. The library is excited to be partnering with the American Indian Center of Houston to celebrate Native American Heritage Month through a series of storytime events. I'd like to introduce our storytellers for today, Donna Pirite and Tayanna Pirite Simon. Donna is a language and cultural lifelay's instructor for the Tunica-Biloxi Language and Culture Revitalization Program, where she promotes the learning of the Tunica and Biloxi languages and culture. She collaborates with Tulane University linguists in the Tunica Language Working Group, developing foundational resources, including linguistic texts, manuals, curricula, and pedagogical materials. Donna is a Louisiana State Certified Educator who has taught more than 40 years in Orleans and Avoyelles parishes, as well as an adjunct professor of French and Spanish at Louisiana State University in Alexandria. In addition to teaching French, Spanish, and English as a second language, Donna has studied and taught Tunica since the 1970s. Tayanna Pirite Simon is a language instructor for the Tunica-Biloxi Tribe of Louisiana. She works with two other Tunica assistant language instructors, two Tunica language lifeway instructors, and a linguist. Tayanna studies the Tunica language and teaches it to tribal youth, along with tribal crafts such as beaded medallions, moccasins, and pine needle baskets, just to name a few. Growing up, she participated in tribal summer camps and workshops, where Miss Donna Purit would teach the tribal youth the Tunica language. Tayanna has worked with her tribe for over 6 years, previously as a human resources assistant. Today, Tayanna is an intermediate Tunica language speaker and is working with her colleagues to reawaken her native Tunica language. Donna has been performing Storytime since 2015. She represents the Cultural and Educational Resources Center Library, which contains more than 1,700 titles covering a range of subject areas. The library collections complement the Tunica-Biloxi Museum and provide an opportunity for more in-depth study and research on Tunica-Biloxi and other Southeastern Indigenous cultures. The CERC Library is open to the general public and is located in the Tunica-Biloxi Cultural and Educational Resources Center on the reservation near Marksville, Louisiana. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Donna and Tayanna for today's story time.
I guess I'll begin with the opening song, our greeting song. Etima lapu lapu mahat, lapu panu hitatikach, etima lapu lapu hemat, lapu panu hitatikach. Hello, my friend, how are you? I'm doing quite well, take care, thank you. Hotuti.
Today's story is The Jingle Dancer by Cynthia Leitch Smith, illustrated by Cornelius Van Wright and Ying Huahu. This story was dedicated to her great aunt Anne, Mrs. Ann Arnold, and to jingle dancers everywhere. Tink, 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 sang cone-shaped jingles sewn to Grandma Wolf's dress. Every grandma bounce-stepped brought clattering tinks as light blurred silver against jingles of tin. Jenna daydreamed at the kitchen table, tasting honey on fry bread, her heart beating to the brum, 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 brum of the powwow drum. As Moon kissed Sun goodnight, Jenna shifted her head on Grandma Wolf's shoulder. I want to jingle dance too. Next powwow, you could dance, girls, Grandma Wolf answered, but we don't have enough time to mail order tins for rolling jingles. Again and again, Jenna watched a videotape of Grandma Wolf jingle dancing. When Grandma bounce stepped on TV, Jenna bounce stepped on family room carpet. But Jenna's dress would not be able to sing. It needed 4 rows, manku, of jingles. As sun fetched morning, Jenna danced east to Great Aunt Sis's porch. Jenna's bounce steps crunched autumn leaves, terashki, but her steps didn't jingle. Once again, Great Aunt Sis told Jenna a Muskogee Creek story about Bat. Although other animals had said he was too small to make a difference, Bat won a ball game by flying high and catching a ball in his teeth. Rising sunlight reached through a window pane and flashed against, what was it, hanging in Aunt Sis's bedroom? Jingles on a dress too long quiet. May I borrow enough jingles to make a row? Jenna asked, not wanting to take so many that Aunt Sis's dress would lose its voice. You may, Aunt Sis answered, rubbing her calves. My legs don't work so good anymore. Will you dance for me? I will, said Jenna with a kiss on Aunt Sis's cheek. Now Jenna's dress needed 3 iniku more rows. As sun arrived at mid-circle, Jenna skipped south to Mrs. Scott's brand new duplex. At Jenna's side, jingles clinked. Mrs. Scott led Jenna into the kitchen. Once again, Jenna rolled dough and Mrs. Scott fried it. May I borrow enough jingles to make a row? Jenna asked, not wanting to take so many that Mrs. Scott's dress would lose its voice. You may, Mrs. Scott answered, tossing flour with her apron. At powwow, Nikihipu, I'll be busy selling fry bread and Indian tacos. Will you dance for me? I will, said Jenna with a high five. Now Jenna's dress needed 2 more rows. As sun caught a glimpse of moon, Jenna strolled west to Cousin Elizabeth's apartment. At Jenna's side, jingles clanked. Elizabeth had arrived home late from the law firm. Once again, Hatika, Jenna helped Elizabeth carry in her files. May I borrow enough jingles to make a row? Jenna asked, not wanting to take so many that Elizabeth's dress would lose its voice. You may, Elizabeth answered, borrowing through her messy closet for her jingle dress. This weekend, I'm working on a big case and can't go to powwow, Nikirhipu. Will you dance for me? I will, said Jenna, clasping her cousin's hands. Now Jenna's dress needed 1 more row of jingles, but she didn't know which way to turn. As moon glowed pale, Jenna shuffled north to Grandma Wolf's. At Jenna's side, Jingle sat silent. High above, clouds wavered like worried ghosts. When Jenna tugged open the door, Jingle sang, tink, 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 tink. Grandma Wolf was jingle dancing on TV. Jenna breathed in every hey-ah-ho-oh of a powwow Nikiripu song. Her heart beat brum, 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 brum to the pounding of the drum. On, on family room carpet, beaded moccasins waited for Jenna's feet. She shucked off a sneaker and slipped on a moccasin that long before had danced with Grandma Wolf. Jenna knew where to find her fourth Manku row. May I borrow enough jingles to make a row? Jenna asked, not wanting to take so many that Grandma Wolf's dress would lose its voice. You may, Grandma said with a hug. Now Jenna's dress could sing. Every night that week, Jenna helped Grandma Wolf sew on jingles and bring together the dance regalia. Every night, Jenna practiced her bounce steps. Brum, 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 sounded the drum at the powwow, Nikiripu, the next weekend. As light blurred silver, Jenna jingle danced. For Great Aunt Sis, whose legs ached, for Mrs. Scott, who sewed fry bread, for Elizabeth, who worked on her big case, and for Grandma Wolf, who warmed like sun. Tink, 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 tink. Hotuti.
And just as a warning, Donna, I muted you. I'm sorry. This is not intentional. So you might have to unmute yourself.
Hache, and
Thank
now
you. I'm
I'm
sorry.
going to sing Hache. Now I'm going to sing the children's song. Traditional Tunica children's song. Eku cha famato hanene haneno hanene haneno. Eku cha famato hanene haneno nene haneno. Eku cha famato hanene haneno nene haneno. Eku cha famato nene haneno nene haneno. In closing, our farewell song. Good afternoon, and we'll be on our way. Tong ha lapu, tong ha lapu, tong ha lapu, itashikacha. Tong ha lapu, tong ha lapu, tong ha lapu, itashikacha. Oh, tutti.
Thank you both so much. I do have one question, if you don't mind. Maybe telling us a bit about the work that you do, sharing knowledge and tradition, and teaching that knowledge.
And I'm going to let Tayanna go first because I would like, this is yes. She does it, she lives it.
Yeah, like Donna say, we live it. We teach and we learn about our Tunica heritage and the Tunica language and all the cultural things we used to do in the past. We live it every day at work. Some of us live it on the weekends, 24/7. We learn about our Tunica language. We teach tribal youth. We have 3 different classes. I teach the 5 to 10-year-olds. Ryan teaches the 17 plus, and Sydney teaches the 11 to 16-year-old. And those classes are Monday and Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. And I also, on the side, make pine needle baskets just as a hobby. It's very therapeutic and nice. It's something we used to make that was taught to the Tunica by, was it the Kashada or the? Yeah, taught to us by the Kashada Indians of Louisiana. And we've been keeping on that tradition for a while now.
Okay. So I've always felt that it's my responsibility first within my family, my son and my daughter, and they've surely taken off far further than I've gone. I'm saying as a teacher, I remain static and they go out. and they expand on their knowledge and use their talent and their treasure. Elizabeth is excellent even at gathering natural resources to teach the pine needle basketry, some of the river cane. She knows the areas to go, palmetto, the fronds and the stems. She had started as a little girl dancing. I remember we had a corn festival, or the Fête du Blé, way back. It was a town festival, a 4th of July festival, then a parade came onto the reservation, and we didn't have what we have now on the dance grounds. It was just everybody would set up their tent. My father-in-law had an army tent, and under that tent we sold where we peddled, as he said, we peddled beads of things that we made to people, not only the tribal community, but also the local community. We were taught how to, even if someone was to come to the booth, and we would not, we would have, there were rules. We wouldn't speak first. We'd let them ask, but we don't tell them everything, as we were always told. But as time went on, I knew there were things that I had to share. And there were young people like Tayanna that were so willing to learn and actually have it within them. And just like I used to tell them in New Orleans with the French and the Spanish, I said, let me get that French out you, let me get that Spanish out you. Well, I'm using non-standard, but let me get that Tunica out you, because it's within. The culture is within, and they just, and the gifts are there. And it's to, realize those gifts, and to teach others. Each one teach one. That's what they taught. That's the way, that was a motto, even in the schools. We go out and we teach others. It's not only kept strictly to the Tunica-Biloxi tribal community, but to other Native communities, as well as local, regional, national, as well as the extended community, because we want to make a bridge. We want to be have an understanding and friendship with others as well, the larger community, the town folk, and the people all over, from small towns to large cities. When the assistant language instructors, Tayanna and Ryan, will be going to Colang, and that's going to be held in Montana. Am I right, Tayanna? So they're going yep. out there. They're going to be learning, but at the same time sharing about. I would always say, little old me, school teacher in Boyles Parish, but even in New Orleans, just little old me, school teacher, and then also the knowledge that I gained, much of it oral tradition, what the old people told me. And sometimes I'm actually able to go back and find in books where this is recorded, sometimes not, but sometimes that's a good thing, because that makes it easier to pass on to others. But I'm still, I'm going to be 68, but they're the young people that have joined us in the cause. In the beginning, it was all for the cause. It wasn't a job. It wasn't a position. It was doing presentations and sharing even what we had in our house, anything that was Native, our beads, our baskets, and any stories that we might have with some simple illustrations talking about Tasiwan, the Hudal mammoth, or Tanap, the one half a man. So, and we knew these things early on. My husband and I would go out and share them. But there was a little time when I felt, even though it was my family, I felt like a lone warrior, but now I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way because we have young people joined, and they have, you know, more time. They'll have more time. They have patience along with that, and they see what they can make with their hands. You can go and buy something. You can ask somebody to make it, but when you make it with your own hands, it's just a wonderful feeling. And you said, I made that. And then it inspires even the younger set to learn and to carry on, because we know that the community is growing. And where's the community growing? It's the young people, the babies that are being born now, and those who are 5, in 5 years, they'll be 10. And those who are 10 now are going to be 15. Those who are 15 going to be 20. So that would be perpetuation of the language and the culture. And when you in public and someone comes up and they hadn't been in a language class a long time, but they want to speak in Tunica to you, they want to say something, ask how you are. You know, you good? And it's a surprise when they do remember, they know, and they associate you with the language and the culture. Not me, but all of us saying, our team, Kupani, and the LCRP, Language and Culture Revitalization Program of the Tunica-Biloxi Tribe. So I mean, I could go on and on now.
It's so wonderful to hear about how the language and the culture is carrying on. Thank you to both of you for sharing these wonderful stories with us today. I'll just let everybody know to just check out our Facebook and YouTube pages to see our previous story times, as well as other great content. And thank you everyone again, and have a great Saturday.
Tikach.
Poinan.
Poinan. Poinan. Hita. Take care. Tikach. Okay.